Well, we're into the final stages, just 10 hurdles left to negotiate. It's Argyle who are bringing up the rear, hoping for a late charge. Odds against them, the rank outsider, and beginning to be cut adrift. Now is the perfect time for a sprint finish. Portsmouth have been pretty ruthless on their own course of late, upsetting the bookies by beating the leader Leeds on Sunday. They look as if they may have done enough to survive. As for Argyle, well, we're into the home stretch now, and if we want a grandstand finish to the season, they will have to turn their recent form around. Another crucial night in store then, and all of the action is coming your way tonight on Argyle TV. Hello, good evening. This is the pre-match show from Matchday Live on Argyle TV. And yes, the Cheltenham Festival may be the sporting highlight for many this week. But for Argyle and Argyle supporters, there is no bigger occasion than what is about to take place at Fratton Park tonight. Matches between Argyle and Portsmouth over recent years have been pretty tasty. And this one has the feeling as one of the most important in recent times from an Argyle point of view. Anyway, the stakes couldn't be higher. Argyle need to bridge that gap at the bottom of the Championship table. Match passes, both audio and video streaming, are available to purchase on our website right now. Head to pafc.co.uk for all of the details of how to purchase them. Joining me though for the evening is former Argyle striker Ian Stonebridge. I apologise now for all the racing puns. But you know, we can forget about Cheltenham. It is all about Fratton Park tonight for Argyle, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's that point in the season for Argyle where they really need that win if they're going to have any chance of kind of clinging on to those other teams in and around us at this time. But you know, we can start the evening as optimists. If they do get 3 points tonight, we'll be talking about what else we need to do to kind of get back above those teams in and around that relegation zone, and yeah, fingers crossed.
I mean, it is. I know there are still 10 matches to go, so you probably feel as if everything should still be to play for at this stage of the season. But given the mood around the place, Home Park on Saturday after another defeat, and the recent run of forms of being quite tricky, it does feel a bit weird, like I say, to think that there is still very much a realistic possibility that in 2 weeks' time Argyle could be right in it again.
Yeah, I was here at the game on Saturday, and like everyone, you know, pretty demoralised by the result and certain aspects of the performance as well. But then you look at the table and you just think, okay, yeah, 3 points makes a huge difference. So, you know, as I say, going into the game, that's the way the team needs to be thinking. Obviously, you know, rightly so, the Green Army weren't happy, and I think the managers acknowledge that, the players will acknowledge that, and they'll know that they've got work to do to make it up to them, and tonight's a great opportunity to do that. It
will be tough though. Portsmouth have picked up 9 wins so far at Fratton Park. That's half of their matches. They beat Leeds on Sunday as well. It's one of those historic grounds that creates an incredible atmosphere. Argyle have been there many times in recent years. You feel it'll be a real tough task for Argyle tonight, don't you?
Yeah, of course. And that result of the weekend for them's really strong, isn't it? It's a big scalp for them. But tonight will be a slightly different type of game, I think. So maybe that can be something that Argyle can look to. You know, Pompey had to, I think, do defending, and they were out of possession, perhaps at home for large periods of the game. We know that that's not Argyle's style at the moment. So Pompey are likely to have more of the ball tonight, and that can be something that maybe Argyle can find a way to create some counter-attacking opportunities, and that might be where they get kind of the fruits of their labours.
Yeah, well, Portsmouth are the only side that Argyle can still do the double over this season. Joe Edwards, the skipper, back in the squad, and if his body language on Saturday was anything to go by, his gestures towards the crowd, he is certainly one of them that feels that there is fight in this challenge at the foot of the table yet. It looks like a nice evening up at Fratton Park. Argyle players arriving. Let's have a look through the Argyle side then. 4 changes made by Miron Muslic from that loss to Sheffield Wednesday on the weekend. Jordan Houghton comes back in, as does Timotheus Puhac. And then there's a rare start for Michael Obafemi, who got the winner in the reverse fixture in November. His first start since January. Ryan Hardy also involved from the start, and it's a 50th appearance for Argyle for Connor Hazard in goal. That's how we think they're going to line up, Ian. I mean, it is great to have the likes of Edwards and Hardy back available again. And Miron Music was talking up Ryan Hardy in the pre-match presses and interviews before this one. He's in from the start today. He got 45 minutes on Saturday. He's in from the start today. Yeah,
he spoke a lot about him offering that goal threat, and that was something that Argyle have been missing. Clearly, it's crucial, particularly as we mentioned, if we're playing a slightly different style than we have done over recent seasons. Having that pace that can offer a threat out of nothing is vital in that. And
good memories of playing at Fratton Park as well.
Absolutely, and he's come into, I think before his injury, he was coming into that rich vein of goal scoring form, and that confidence is really something that I think is perhaps lacking through the rest of the team at the moment. So again, we'll certainly be hoping that he can bring some of that tonight.
Yeah, it was 5 in. I'm going to call it 5 in 3 because the fourth was a game he got injured in, and he came off in the first half in that. And like you say, whether they're all penalties or they're not, they are important goals. And as a striker, you will know it doesn't really matter what type of goal you get. If you get one, you're feeling better about yourself, aren't you?
Definitely, yeah. You get a goal, you've done your job. It was always almost relief as much as anything else for me when on the rare occasions when it did happen. But yeah, it's perhaps the slight worry is the risk of how comfortable is he coming back in, how fit is he. Lots of kind of pressure being put on his shoulders in terms of carrying that goal scoring threat. So again, we're hopeful that he's fully recovered and able to offer that for Argyle tonight.
We saw some of his goals against Portsmouth in recent years as well. He's got 4 in his last 4 matches against Portsmouth. Does that do anything as well heading into a game against that opposition again?
I think it does, yeah. I think the rhythm, the habit, all of those things that often I think we talk about in relation to goal scorers, I think they do come into play. So he'll be confident. Portsmouth won't be happy seeing his name on the team sheet. I'm sure the fans will know that what he's done to them there before again. So I think that's a nice kind of psychological edge that Argyle and Ryan Hardy can take into the game.
The front three is quite interesting, I think, because goals being scored has been an area that Argyle have struggled in. I think they've only got 2 in their last 5 matches. That's in the league. And Michael Obafemi, their former Southampton player, will probably have something to prove against Portsmouth as well. But him, Hardy and Bundu as a front three is quite pacey. It's quite dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think the key for me is their ability to get Argyle up the pitch. We've seen in some recent games that, one, it's no fun defending for 90 minutes. 2, it's really hard to do, and you probably end up conceding chances and perhaps goals as a result of that. So being able to get up the pitch is really important. I thought Bundu against Man City was excellent in his hold-up play. His linkage, he got Argyle up the pitch, he brought other people into the game. So if he can rediscover some of that tonight and work some opportunities to combine with Ryan Hardy, with Michael Obafemi, that would be fantastic. In the game since Man City, his link-up play has not quite been there. So again, I think that out ball, as we sometimes call it, if he can be a real physical presence up there and retain possession, so it doesn't keep coming back down Argyle's throats, at the wrong end of the pitch, that can be something that can help us tonight.
Yeah. As for Portsmouth, well, they, as we were saying, have had a quietly impressive season. They've impressed at home, especially. Won their last 3 here. This is the side that John Mousinho has gone for, and rather unsurprisingly, he has picked the same side that started against Leeds on Sunday. So that means that Colby Bishop will be the man really to look out for at the top end of the pitch. He scored the winner in that game. He's got 6 goals this season. It does mean they've got a slight makeshift back forward. Marlon Pack having to drop in there. The recovering injury problems at the back haven't come back quick enough for this game. But Colby Bishop is the clear obvious one. We spoke about Ryan Hardy for Argyle being in form before his injury. Took the goal brilliantly against Leeds. We'll see that in a sec, I think. But he looks like a real handful at this level, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a threat. He's kind of, I guess, you could call it like a throwback centre forward. He's all action. He's got the pace to run in behind, but he's also got that physical presence to be a real nuisance to defenders. And he's got his goal scoring record as well, speaks for itself in recent seasons. He's prolific. He's a regular goal scorer when he's got a run of games, and having come back into the team this season, he's really showing the kind of signs of getting back into that form again.
Yeah, it's remarkable that he is able to churn out performances like this, considering what he went through in the summer. He is being aided by a couple of decent wingers, Matt Ritchie, Premier League experience. On the opposite side, Josh Murphy. He's got 15 goal involvements, 9 assists, 6 goals this season. And again, it just is a very direct player that has the ability to find teammates in the box should he get in those positions, really.
Yeah, I think from a pace point of view, again, that can be a point of difference. At this level, it's a real problem for defenders, being in those wide areas and that willingness to put a ball in early. I think in these clips you can see Portsmouth always willing to commit players forward, and I guess that responsibility is on those that front three in particular to always make sure that when that ball's being delivered into the box, there's at least 2 of them and probably some midfielders joining in as well. But yeah, a productive front three, and Argyle are going to need to be right on their game tonight to keep them out. 3
or 4 of those examples were Murphy to Bishop as well.
Yeah.
As a little partnership, they seem to be pretty ruthless.
Absolutely, yeah. But Argyle will know that. They'll have done their homework and they'll have talked about ways they can stop that. I think, as always, the communication amongst the back three is crucial. The gaps between them, making sure that when those forward players make runs, that we're passing over and aware of where they are at all times. And again, yeah, Argyle can be solid at the back tonight, but it's going to be dealing with Colby Bishop. I think that's key in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it will be a tricky one for Argyle for sure. It's been a difficult couple of weeks for Argyle head coach Miron Muslic, who admitted that his side collapsed on Saturday against Sheffield Wednesday. So how is he preparing to set the side up to stop it happening tonight? Miron Muslic is with us. Fight on our hands then, boss, I imagine.
Yeah, we have to. I think if you look to the next game and to the challenge in front of us, Portsmouth, very hostile atmosphere. I think a fantastic atmosphere, 17,000. It feels like 37. So we know what to expect over there. It will be a fight, and we have to be ready to also pick up this fight. Challenging moments for us, but don't forget also this team gave us just a couple of weeks ago so many beautiful moments, so many strong performances, and having Hardy back with us and finally available after not being selectable for 5 to 6 games, that give us also the necessary confident boots we need, but above all, the offensive threat. We need Hardy to be more dangerous, and he's the key.
Just a couple of weeks ago, we had those, I think you call them beautiful moments. We had big wins against Millwall, the Liverpool game, the West Brom game. Is it part of your job and your staff's job to remind the players about that wasn't long ago, and you were able to string some wins together?
Yeah, I think this is always our task and our responsibility, but above all to protect them and to shield them, because the pressure is on and we have to try as much as we can and as the best we can to protect them, to shield them, so they can actually just focus on the performance. Because you see then, I think the way we started Sheffield was just outstanding the first 10-12 minutes, and that's the momentum for us to score the goal, because the goal will give us just this, okay, finally we rewarded ourselves and we are in. But we could not, and then out of nowhere, own goal, and suddenly the momentum is changing, and it's just up to us to find a good balance to protect them, to shield them, but to give them also the confidence they need. Because actually just 1 week ago, 9 days ago, the Green Army was so proud of our performance in City. Everybody was so proud, everybody was just so happy. And then of course after 1 or 2 bad games, this also changed, and it's about always finding a good balance when we are here, not to lose it, and also when we are right now here in a challenging moment, don't forget we have to stick together, and together we can make it.
What sort of role can a coach play in doing what he was talking about there, like getting a team's confidence up, getting a team ready to go?
Yeah, I think a big part of confidence is knowing your job and having a clear understanding of what is wanted from the coaching staff. So he seems to have that clarity of vision of what he wants to see, and it's the challenge is putting it across to the players in a way that they take it on board. I think a challenge with that is players want to be on board with something that's going to be successful, and it hasn't necessarily been that way in recent games. So I think part of the tricky bit, if you like, for the coaching staff is convincing them, reminding them of those games where it has been productive, where it has worked, reminding them perhaps what Ryan Hardy coming back into the team offers them within that same style, and that's where confidence can start to come from.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at Saturday, and Miron mentioned it there, the start against Wednesday was actually really strong. I think there were like 4 quite decent chances inside the first 10 minutes. So he got it, or the coaching staff got that kind of message across to the players clearly in that game. And then as the game went on, it began to unravel a little bit. Is that sort of what you're, once they're on the pitch, they can't do much more though, can they, like a coach? So that first bit, that last team talk or whatever, seems to carry quite a bit of weight.
Yeah, I think it does, and in presenting that to the players, they'll build a narrative, a story around. Look at these ways that we have got it right, these times where it has worked for us, and those are the things that will provide the evidence for the players to say, if we can carry this out in the way that it is being asked of us, and get back to those ways perhaps when it has worked. As we say, Brian Hardy a key part of that in terms of that outball, that pace to offer the threat going the other way. I think that's probably the message that the coaching staff will be trying to put across. And yeah, from the players' point of view, they need to feel that confidence, but they need to have a confidence that it can work if they get it right, and it has done. So that that's not complete pie in the sky. It has worked, but it hasn't worked so well in those recent games. And the job is, can we get back to that way of feeling from a few games back?
Yeah. A reminder, match passes are still available to get online right now if you want to watch the game in full. We are about 15 minutes away from kickoff. pafc.co.uk for all of the details of how to get your match passes. Let's turn our attention to Portsmouth. Mentioned their pretty impressive run at the moment. They are 7 points clear of the relegation zone after just one defeat in their last 5 games. The last win of which came against Leeds United on Sunday, ending their 17-match unbeaten run in the championship. Their boss is John Mousinho, and he is hoping that Portsmouth can continue their momentum into tonight.
In terms of the Leeds performance, what do you sort of want to see? What are the sort of non-negotiables now that you've seen that Leeds performance and you want to see on Wednesday?
I just thought it was a base. The work rate from the entire team, all of the substitutes as well, was excellent. We ran, we were organised. I thought defensively very, very solid. That's the base that we have to work off. So we have to work off being really defensively solid. And at times this season, that's I think where we've let ourselves down. We've actually scored plenty of goals this year, but sometimes defensively we've just not been at it and we've not been good enough. And that's where we've really tried to improve over the past sort of 8 to 10 weeks. So I think that as a base, we saw at the weekend, we're not trying to play hugely expansive football, but there are opportunities where we do want to get the ball down, we do want to play, and I think we did that really well at the weekend, and that was a really pleasing thing for me. I thought we showed a lot of bravery on the ball as well.
What are you expecting from Plymouth? Obviously a side with a new manager and a side who have had some sort of good form in the FA Cup, particularly recently as well. Yeah,
good form in the FA Cup, and they've also come off the back of a couple of weeks ago beating West Brom at home, which is a massive result. We've seen how good West Brom are, so I think the Plymouth side that have got plenty to prove after the result of the weekend and are going to come here very, very hungry for a result, and it's going to be a really tough game for us. There were no easy games at this level. We saw at their place when Plymouth beat us that they're more than capable on their day, and also we would have seen the high-profile games over the past couple of weeks. A thoroughly deserved win against Liverpool, against a strong Liverpool side, and then pushing Man City, going toe-to-toe with Man City for a long, long time, and I think that's the level. That's the level we're at. We've got another very, very good opposition to face, and we've got to make sure we're right at it.
And you've obviously outlined what you want to see from your players, but in terms of what you want to see from the fans at Fratton Park, it will very much be the case of replicating such a special atmosphere as they did yesterday.
Yeah, I don't. There's nothing. I don't have to sort of ask for anything. I know we're going to get it. The fans have been absolutely incredible during my entire time here, particularly this season when we've had some tougher times, and thankfully we've been able to reward them, particularly at home, with a couple of decent results recently. And yeah, Sunday was right up there. It was just such a special atmosphere, such an amazing place to be with the build up to the game. I think it's also important that we as players and we as coaches, we definitely feed off the atmosphere that's created at Fratton Park, but we then have to give back, and we have to make sure that we give the fans something to cheer about, and yesterday we did.
They have been impressive recently, and we've spoken about that quite a bit. Kind of maybe understandable again, the fact that they just took their time to settle it at this level. I think it was 10 matches before they won their first game. He's a young coach who's kind of in his first job, and yet they seem to have adjusted superbly well, really.
Yeah, we know it's a big jump. We've experienced that ourselves. So from League One into the Championship, the difference in quality, the difference in resources that the teams have at this level does make it a gap that's really tricky to bridge, I think. As you say, it took them time, but he's certainly showing signs that he's got the team working well together. You know, he mentioned in there about their kind of playing approach, their playing style, maybe pragmatic in Murphy and Bishop in particular. I think they have a couple of attacking players that allow them to play a particular way, perhaps that's seem to be successful for them.
Yeah, and if you add Callum Lang into that, who's obviously out injured at the moment, but he's their top scorer. You're right. If you have players that have the ability just to do a little bit of something special, you can afford to have that slightly more pragmatic approach and not be as open, because everybody knows what happens if you are a bit open in this league. You get torn to shreds.
Definitely, you still need that little bit of luck. I think you watch the highlights from the Leeds game at the weekend. They're under pressure. Leeds probably had a significantly bigger share of the possession, but Portsmouth still able to find a way to win the game. And at times that's good defending. It's putting your bodies on the line, getting those blocks in. But other times it's a little bit of luck that goes your way. Perhaps the luck that didn't quite go our way at the start of the game against Sheffield Wednesday at the weekend. If we do score in that first period, it's a different result. But yeah, Portsmouth have obviously come up and they feel like they probably think as a club that this is the level they should be at least at the moment. I think historically when they've been down the leagues, they're one of those teams that probably feel that the pressure is there to get back, and I think that Mousinho's done a really good job in taking that on and dealing with that pressure, that expectation, and getting Portsmouth back into this league.
Yeah. What's your head saying about today, then, about this evening? Yeah, where do you think it goes? This game?
It's really easy to say. The start is really crucial. If Argyle can stay in the game and even nick a goal in that first half and give themselves something to defend, they've shown in some of those recent games they do know how to defend as a team. They can, adopt that kind of siege mentality once they've got something to protect. So fingers crossed they can get that good start. Equally, if it doesn't go their way, they have to remain together. They have to remain kind of solid and as a team, because otherwise it's a slippery slope down from there. If you stop working for each other, if you stop having that unity, that I think is going to be crucial for us.
Yeah, scoring first is crucial, as you say. I think it's something like 28, 29 times this season Argyle have conceded the first goal. Let's hope we can get the first one. Thank you, Ian, for the time being. We will be back, obviously, at half-time to talk through everything that has happened in the first 45 minutes at Fratton Park. But it is pretty much time to hand over to our commentary team in position there. A reminder that if you haven't already, match passes are available from our website. It's audio only in the UK, video overseas. Head to pafc.co.uk for all of the details. Into the final 10 we go then. These games are often tasty. They quite often end 2-2. We'd rather one be a little bit more comfortable today. Let's find out. Let's head over to our commentary team. The former Argyle midfielder Gary Nelson is joined by Harry Salvage, and Argyle at Portsmouth is next.